Greetings, everyone. This is your boy Jay Takashi, guys. And today, I'm joined today by my man Wally and Mr. HeSaid, aka Magneto Malcolm X, which I respect, by the way. And guys, this is going to be a one-on-one interview with my man Wally and my man Mr. HeSaid. I'm going to be in the background because I'm going to be moderating, and these two cats brothers are gonna chat it out. We're gonna get to know who Mr. He said is, and his thoughts on particular questions that are going to be asked of him. And I'm going to post both their links in the chat. And guys, like I said, be respectful, like y'all how you always do for me. And man, we can have a great one-on-one interview tonight. All right. So guys, like I said, you know how we do over here. I'm gonna get into the intro, and then we are going to get started. And if you are new to our channel, please, I'm gonna say our channel, because it's built off the backs of my brothers here too, not just my hard work, theirs too. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and like the video, and also share it because that also helps. So without further ado, guys, you know how we go. So I'm gonna count from 5 to 1, and then we're gonna start it in Japanese, of course. Go, yon, san, I, ichi, zero. Let's go.
Rello woman.
All right, brothers, the floor is yours. I'm gonna put on the background music, and I have a good time.
All right, what it do, good people, man. It's your boy Wally. Salute, Mr. He said, man. Look,
Peace,
it,
peace,
it's been
peace,
it's been a
God.
good man. It's been good. You know, me and you, we've been rocking and rolling here and there around the streets in similar areas, in similar places. And when I asked you about this interview, right? Because you had some sick posters on the background, so I had to figure out like, hey, you into this? And of course, you said yes. So I'm like, hey, you know, I'd add you in here real quick. I'd add you in here. You know what I'm saying? You always do the cerebral Saturdays. You always do this. So it's like, I gotta see what your mind frame, why you constantly, do all this and connect it all and tie it all in. But so real quick, right? Tell the people who you is and where they can find you before we start the show.
True indeed, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you immensely. You know that. And I'm Mr. He Said, one half of He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance. You can find us on these YouTube streets every Thursday at 8 o'clock. And I do my cerebral thing on Saturdays at 4. The missus does her shame thing on Sundays at 1. And, I love your platform. I love, what you and Takashi stand for. I know you didn't throw up that many videos yet, but I'm waiting for you to, grace us with something. But I know you guys collab always on the anime world, on, the sci-fi world, and this comic book world. So it was my pleasure to, come on over and chop it up with you, man.
All right, thanks, man, thanks. Hold on, let me try to get the sound on there. All right. But look, so okay. First guest of the day. Shout out Mandrell, what it do?
What up, Mr. Harris?
So, like I said, I did want to interview you on multiple formats of multiple points of your life, just to get a good background of who you are, and then how that got you to being in Marvel and DC amongst comics. But this is what you mostly wrap yourself around. So, growing up, like, where do you came from?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy specifically. So, the comic book world was something that existed, but it wasn't popular, in my neighborhood and in my circle per se. But in my house, I had uncles and a brother that were big readers, that were big on comic books, that were big on widening your imagination and understanding that the world is bigger than, what you see in your four walls. So comic books kind of opened the door to that, and that started a trajectory of reading. And once you open Pandora's box, you can't close it back. So comic books was that Pandora's box for me.
Right. Hey man, that's good. That's good. So, to your point of living in to Brooklyn, tell me, like, from your experience, like, what do you experience growing up, in Brooklyn, New York?
Survival of the fittest.
Mhm.
It's a race. You always want to be first to do anything, whether it's first to get a job or first to have, the hot sneakers, or see the newest movie, or, graduate. It's always a competition, and New York kind of keeps you on your toes. So growing up in Brooklyn, like I said, it's only the strong survive mentality. So I understood early and through comic books and living in Brooklyn that you can be tough and you can be smart. You know what I mean? It's not two things that can't coexist at one time, like most of our superheroes. You know what I mean? They have a certain level of toughness, but they still have a certain level of intelligence to know when to, exercise that authority, and when to, just keep the peace.
I mean, that's good. That's good, man. That's good. That's crazy. Because I mean, everyone has, like, different surroundings and everything else like that when it comes to, like, certain areas, right? I mean, one thing that is true across the board, right, is it's a tough place wherever you go, right? It's a tough place wherever you go ultimately, right? When you're trying to grow up and level yourself to the next stage of your life, moving out of danger to a decent average living, where it's just more comfortable, more scenarioed, and not too much things going on amongst the neighborhood, unless it's some good stuff, right? So, up to that whole point of you living in Brooklyn, right? What did it really taught you as far as growing up?
It taught me that ultimately it's my choice and my decision. I can let my surroundings dictate the man that I'm going to be. I can let, society tell me the type of man that I'm going to be, and just cop out. But, in order to fulfill my true potential, I'm going to have to say to myself and prove to myself the type of man that I want to be, and, lead by example, be the adult that I needed as a child. Like most of our superheroes, again, it comes through adversity. They lose parents, they lose an uncle, they lose an auntie, and it kind of thrusts them into a position. It's no different in Brooklyn. You see the poverty, you see the dysfunction, you see the generational curses, and you don't want to continue them. You want to break them. So, you put yourself in a ship like Superman, and you get the hell away from Krypton, and you try to do better, you know what I mean? And maybe you go back, maybe you don't, but I think it's that mindset, like I said, to know that it's bigger than the world that you from. And all of these superheroes, share that commonality that is bigger than what I'm about. It's bigger than this neighborhood that Spider-Man was in. It was bigger than Krypton that Superman was from. It's bigger than the brain that Tony Stark's had. He was one of the smartest people in the world, but it was bigger than that. It was about the people. It was about sacrificing, for a greater good, for something bigger than yourself. So, my family and this man that I've become is the result of sacrifice, is the result of conscious, wanting to break the chains, wanting to break the curses. And I had to walk every day in that purpose. So, again, comic books, they played a heavy part in that.
And that's all great, man. That's amazing. One thing I heard from you speaking on this is the art of peer pressure. And we all heard it. We all heard it one way or another. throughout our times, that art of peer pressure to cave in to what society wants us to be, or wherever our environment wants us to be. You know, most cases they're not. They usually tell us, hey, you won't make it to see 18. And you know, right now most of us are seeing it until 18, but you know, nowadays it's like, oh, you won't make it to see maybe 30 and whatever it is. But we're constantly, you know, seeing different strides, and we're making it more than ever these days. But you know, when it comes to that form of peer pressure, you know, how much of it is somewhere in your head sometimes did it actually weigh in to make you consider some of those peer pressures in your life back then?
Oh, it was heavy. I mean, you know, again, coming from certain urban cities, we have a certain collective and a mindset of what a man is and how to express and how to display it. And our peers, they absolutely add fuel to that fire. You know, we kind of gauge ourselves by them. And like the cliche says, if you take a look at 10 broke people and you click up with them, more than likely you're going to be the 11th one. But it's that community, it's that neighborhood that you know gives us a shared camaraderie, and it can kind of be crabs in a barrel in a sense, because we can kind of hold ourselves back, not wanting to make our friends feel bad, not wanting to make our friends look bad, not making our friends wanting to see themselves in a certain light, because we want to excel, because we want more. But again, it's on you to want more, to want better. And if you're gonna let how your peers feel dictate your aspirations and your goals in life and what you acquire, you definitely need to do some reevaluation and some reexamination.
Hey man, that's amazing. That's amazing. You know, because I'll tell you this, right? When I think about, like, we were to collaborate, you know, the art of peer pressure and like comic books, you know, you think about the world in a sense like Spider-Man, right? Especially within the movies, you know, he had that art of peer pressure to be. Does he wants to be Peter Parker or does he want to be Spider-Man, right? And we see him eventually pick a choice. And he's like, man, forget this. He tosses the suit. He wants to be an everyday guy, and you know, he's starting to see his everyday life getting better and better and better every step of the way because he's abandoning the other him, right? But knowing he can never run away from the him that he is because it's ingrained in him. And and the people that are coming for him, they're always going to push. And the reality is, as much as there's people out there that may not support him, there's other people that do. And it's like the more people do not hear him or see him take the call, it's like, have you abandoned us? And you know, sometimes we question, should we constantly be the person that's trying to be the hero, or should we try to convert to be the villain? We always want to be neutral and just live our lives and go that path and just be like, separate us from the other side, but we got to choose one, no matter what. It's either this way or the other way, right? And eventually, we all got to choose. Neither we like it or we don't. And I think that's that price. Even if though the art of peer pressure, when you think about it, yeah, it's mostly the pressures are bad. But even then, I say that pressure is also for the good as well. And there's a lot of pressure trying to do it because you're constantly putting such a toll on yourself to keep yourself in check for the greater good of not only yourself, but for everybody else around you, even when they don't know you.
Yeah, true.
And so, yeah, man, it's a crazy world out here. But, you know, we try our best out here every day. We try our best.
True indeed. True indeed.
Yeah, man. But look, so mapping yourself from the time you're in your youth, right, to the time you went through school, you did all this, everything else, right? When it was time for you to become your own man and start marching by your own feet, what was the development was for you, starting that process?
Knowledge, man. Knowledge. You know, in every sense of the word. From knowledge is power, like school days or Latifa, all the way to knowledge, wisdom, understanding in the 5% nation, and just knowing that for every piece of knowledge that I get, it's a bunch that I don't have. So, reading books and learning behaviors and taking an improv class, just all of these different things to make me a man. And then, trades and skills and security to flooring to everything, that any tool that I can get in my belt. I just wanted that knowledge of what I thought being a man was, being resourceful, being intuitive, being able to work with what you got no matter what you're given. So I just tried to gain as much knowledge as I could and respect knowledge and understand that that was going to be my guide. That was going to be, kind of my route, my GPS. And as long as I follow that, everything else kind of falls into place, because I'm respecting life, I'm respecting love, I'm respecting wisdom, because I'm acquiring knowledge as I go along and knowing that it's a process. And I'm never gonna, get it all in one day, and I'm never gonna be 100% the perfect person. But as long as I'm working towards it and willing to learn, I think that's the key in the difference between, a superhero and a regular person.
Hey, I would say it like this: we're all students in everything we do in life, right? We're all students in everything we do in life. Like even when a superhero is out there in the world, most of the superheroes, they're just starting out with their powers, but they haven't really evolved it to the max, to the evolutionary form of their whole being. So, even they have to go to the due diligent process of being the full max hero that we know them to be in the comics, but what we don't really see within the television shows. But, because even to your point, right, looking at it from your side of perspective and thinking about it on mine, right? Because when it was time to hit that switch, I always looked at it like there was a lot to learn, especially for me, because for me, I say it like this: my path to it all was more so of due diligence, of being aware of a lot of different visuals. Because I can sit here and say, yeah, I had a father and mother in my household just like everybody else, for those that had it, right? But at the same notion, my parents were islanders, I was in America. So there's two differences between us. So my interest, my understanding, my tolerance for hearing things is morally, on the other side from what they're talking about most of the time. So it's like I have ventured off in a different space. This is where comic books, anime, our lovely black sitcom TV shows, the Martins, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, A Different World. This is where this comes in. This was literally my growing curve for everything I ever think about when it's time for me to be that guy in the world, expanding myself to the world and building who I am. Right? So that's what I looked at and those stuff. And anime and comics, they were just a lovely add-on to my experience because it was just my pastime of joy. So, I just look at it because I always sit here and say this. If there was one thing I look back at, right, to now, right, I say I should have really talked to my brother way more than I did back then. And I had no excuse for it because I really could have talked to him way more anytime I had it. To be like, hey, look, when it comes to all of this and that, all this, like when it comes to females, when it comes to dealing with other guys out there in the world. Because you know what, I ain't gonna lie. If I think back to it, because I know who my brother was and what he did amongst his life. And I think to myself, because he's in that world where you got to be careful who you hang around. Because the next dude can set you up. And if, I always question it because I think to myself, I had these friends, right? And I had these friends only because of where I was. But when I left and I moved on, I never heard from them. Why? I tend to ask myself that. And, sometimes, yeah, it is going to be yourself, right? You never made that move, so nonsense, why would they? But at the same notion, it's because it's not mutual. It's like y'all are only friends because of a scenario of where you were. But the thing is, even when you left, they didn't really rock with you like that. They didn't really care for you like that. Because if they did, they would have blowed you up. They would have said something. Hey, when are you going to come and see me? You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those things. And I think one of those big questions that I talked to my brother about, it would have been like, how do you know who's that right person to be around and keep around and trust? And I think sometimes those are one of those questions you have to be very mindful of in life, because I treat it like this, right? This is one piece of mindset that I took in upon myself that I started to look at. A lot of us, it's like we live the game of chess, right? And we all have our knights, our bishops, our rooks, and then of course the queen, right? We all got these core guys that we should have around us, protecting us and knocking down the battles with us. But it's like sometimes I think when I look around it and I really try to sit back and see a lot of things in life, we all play chess, even in games. I mean, most of these guys, regardless how you feel about them, they all play the same thing. They got one big kingpin, the king. You got the two knights, the bishops, the rooks. 9 times out of 10, the bishops, they're your counsel. The knights, they're your warriors. The rooks, they're the muscle. They're security. You know what I'm saying? And the pawns, they're just people you socialize with that you don't really last long with. And I realized with my life, I was hanging around a bunch of pawns. There were just people that you mess with because that was just the life. But in reality, they weren't rocking with you like that. And I want to know, like, did you ever had that situation for yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, that's every man's situation. That's why the game chess exists, and that's why our fathers and our uncles and our brothers, shout out to my big brother Triple L, they sit us down and they make us, play. They make us master. They make us see the moves. They make us take moves back. Like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Stop that. And this is why, because life is chess, man. You are the king, and like you said, you have pieces that are, according, and you treat them as such. When you notice a pawn, you treat them as a pawn. You make those moves, you sacrifice him when he needs to be sacrificed, and you continue moving. But I think that's the thing about men and the level of sophistication and the tools that we need to have in our box that these modern men, they don't have. They don't want to have these tools in their box. And instead of blaming themselves and looking inward, they'd rather blame society, say that's not what a man is supposed to be, and who says that that's what a man is supposed to do, and all of the easy ways to take out. But like you said, life is chess, and some people are playing checkers while others are playing chess, and it shows.
Exactly. And see, and that's why I'm just looking at it like there was so much components in life I really didn't really consider. Because for me, I looked at life like I was like a family guy, right? But I didn't realize a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes amongst family. So I didn't see all that, hear all that. I didn't know what was a mess going on. So I was a family guy. I always cared about family, you know what I'm saying? I was like that. So I even looked at that with even my friends. Like, I always want to be with my friends because they were like family to me. Because that's who I rock with. That's who I want to be around. That's people I thought that guided who I was. And, it was all good for what it was at that time, but that's what it was. It was all good for that time. And eventually, you know how it is. Reality hits you. And, we always get this one piece of saying, right? The ones that are close to you don't last, but the ones that are far with you do. And that was the crazy part. It was the ones that lived far away from me. That I knew people that I don't even know too much, that I had to go to school with. Those are the ones that last the most. Others, not so much. I can get a call from my homie any other damn day of the week, but someone I knew since I was a child, they can't even say, what's good with you? And they on Facebook with me. It's crazy. But you know what? Hey, I let it be what it is. Because you know what? I understood as I grew up, life goes on. You can choose to say what's up, all that, and people come through, and you can stay and see what happens, or it is what it is. You're gonna do so much, and everyone. And I know in relationships, regardless of how if it's men and women or just how we choose to interact with people we know and all that, there's always a level of constantly communicating and a level of always being connected with the next person. Because the moment that connection drops, everything goes. So it's always got to be at work. And if you lose it, it's like you may not never get it back. And sometimes people in their heads, they already assuming like, oh, this is why this is, it's done under the bridge. But it ain't the case.
I hear you. And I mean, again, that's a level of maturity that people need to have. That some friends, we can not see each other for 10 years, but when we see each other, we can pick right back up. But I think it's like you said, we have to have a certain level of check-in. At least tap in with me, see what's good. If you don't hear from me in 2 or 3 months, we just got to text me and the missus, tonight from somebody we haven't heard from. They stepped away from the YouTube streets for a little bit, but they just text us tonight like, hey, y'all, miss y'all. Just wanted to let y'all know. And that's exactly what you were alluding to. We don't have to speak every day. We don't have to touch all of the time, but just, a quick text to say, yo, what's up, man? Haven't heard from you. Just let you know I'm thinking about you. And when you're free, get at me. I think we all can do that. But once we get into this grandiose, I'm better, I'm bigger than everything going on, then, that's when we get into that air that we don't have to check on, we don't have to be concerned with, and don't have to reciprocate that feeling. But I'm with you wholeheartedly. We got to show the people that we love them while they're here.
Right. Because, what's crazy to me was, looking back at it, right, I had about, in my earliest age, before I had my little incident of surgeries that had to be done, I wasn't going to school, right? I literally, in my class, I had like 2 guys that I was literally rocking with every day. We was like the 3 Musketeers in our classroom. Literally. 3 Musketeers, right? But the thing was, what was so crazy to me is like when it was time for me to go and I had to handle my business with my surgeries that had to be done to me, man, I haven't seen or heard from him. Yeah, it was crazy because like I'm just sitting back here and I'm like, one of the dudes, the funny part is, one of them, they know where I live. The other guy, I can't say too much, but one of them knew where I live. So even if the other one wanted to find me, the other one knew where I live. Because his father sometimes will take him and me and my mother, and they'll drive us back home, even though we was walking and it wasn't that far. So we had a correlation, especially because I know his big brothers, 2 of them that he had, right? But it was funny to me because this was another reason why life really hit me in the face. I'm talking about one of these big fat epiphanies, right? And this is how I really knew, like, you only got friends for your surroundings. You really don't got friends for, people that just fuck with you. And it was one of those moments where there was a time, right, in Florida, we have this thing called the FCAT, right? So it's just one of these big high-graded tests that we usually take year-round. And I'm coming back home because I'm calling people. No one was picking up. No one's doing none of that. I'm like, all right, you know what? It's time for me to keep on going because I got to go. I don't want to stay here waiting all damn day. It's like, all right, I'm going. And I'm walking home. This was the craziest part. I took a turn right where I'm about to go home. Because I'm about to do the next turn, and I'm about to go home right there. I took this turn. I looked sideways to the house. Guess what I see? I see the dude that I went to school with, father, right there in front of my face. I couldn't even say nothing. I just looked at him. I'm like, ain't this some shit? You're trying to tell me you live here this whole freaking time and you never came to see your brother? And the funny thing is, right after I saw that, guess what happened? My parents right there, boom, they pop up. I'm like, how does it work? How that work? It was crazy.
Shout out to Marcus on the check-in. Shout out to John Wally. What up, y'all?
What's going on, you guys? But it was the most crazy scenario of my life. But it made me realize what I thought I had, I didn't have at all. You know what I'm saying? And even when I had those injuries and surgeries, I don't have one person really checking up on me. But even with me and him, I know it's shaky because our relationship sometimes is shaky. You know what I'm saying? But we push through it anyways. But it's usually almost shaky every other time. But even then, it was just funny because it was just weird, man. It was all weird, but I just keep it pushing. But I faced a lot of those challenges of thinking I didn't have no one most of the time. So I remember there was a time, so one of the homeboys I had that literally lived across the street from me, he was having another homeboy, but he had another homeboy that was around, came through, slide all the time, have fun. And the biggest thing about me and his relationship was I wasn't able to do a lot. But it's like, what do I do? Do I act under peer pressure and follow everything he say? Or do I listen to what my parents do and tell them listen to what they say? It's like, hey, look, don't get me twisted. If it was me, I'd motherfucking be ready to ride out any damn day of the week. But the same notion, I can't play these cards. These are all the cards I got. What you want me to do with that? So it's like, in a lot of ways, it's like, I have this thing where I say a lot of people want to be in the position of God, and you got to kneel to them. And it's like, we always got to serve someone else. Like, I always got to serve you just because you put yourself on this standpoint. It's like, I can't keep doing that. I can't keep flipping the switch all the time. And around that time when he got his due, I wasn't saying, mind, it is what it is. I was cool with that. It didn't matter, right? But even then, someone I knew, he made a comment saying, hey, you know what? How do you end up losing your best friend like that to someone else? And I'm like, I had to let it go. It's like, it was what I was going to do about that. That's not my thing. I'm not taking no one away from anybody. No one's not taking away from me. You feel me? But the funny thing about it is I didn't make no sweats about it, because guess what? When it all came crashing down, they end up not being cool. So again, I didn't pay no mind to it. Yeah, eventually across the road, yeah, we did have our differences. I didn't really mess with them too much in a certain point in my life, and I left it alone. But there was one time I came to the scenery, I was outside. He was going to the park, but the park ended up being closed. And, we were in the same thing. I'm like, God damn it, I'm outside when he's outside. I'm not trying to make this weird. But it's like, what are we going to do about it? I'm right here, he's right there, but I don't pay no mind. I just keep it going. I'm going to do what I'm doing, because I was literally, neither walking or jogging, constantly as an exercise, as I usually do around my place. And he was throwing the rock. I remember there was one throw that he did. It went past him. I picked up the football. I threw it to his homeboy, and I kept it pushing. I didn't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just kept it pushing. And it was funny because we ended up being cool again, but I just knew, like, I had to just move different from the whole thing, because I know that there's tension, and I get it. But it's like, for me, it's like, if you got an issue, just say it. There's something that, and I just think a lot of people, they don't want to even communicate it. They just want to just expect you to see it, and then voila, like, you do something about it. But we all can't.
Indeed, God. People process situations and experiences different. So, I think there's, different sides of the spectrum. You have some people like you said, you didn't want it to feel awkward, didn't want it to get weird. So the best choice for you was just continue to keep it pushing. And then you got, the other side of the spectrum where, it could get weird, it could get awkward, it could get shaken. We could have a misunderstanding wherever you want to take it, we can. And I think that's just a different dynamic. But, we have to be able to have the whole range of the spectrum, be able to keep it moving, be able to de-escalate a situation, or be able to take it to wherever it needs to go. But I think that's the if we had a crayon box, I think we as black men, we only can use about 4 crayons. You know what I mean? And there's a 64 box. You got so many colors that could be used, but we so stuck on using these 4. America told us that we can only use these 4 crayons, and that's what our pictures look like. They could be way more beautiful if we just used more colors.
Right. So let's get into this point, right? After your journey of all, after growing yourself up to be the man that you are today, right? And of course, you took yourself to the next level. You said, I became the man that I wanted to be. Now I want to be not just a man, but to be a husband. What was that like for you?
Man, that was just a collective of retrospect on my life, just taking a look at where I was, where I wanted to go and how I would get there. I lost my mom when I was young. I was 9 years old. You know what I mean? I never knew my dad, and I lost my mom when I was 9 years old. So that thrust me into a certain level of realistic life, that there was no unconditional love in this world for me. All of that was gone. You know what I mean? So I needed to put one foot in front of the other. I needed to, make every day better than the last day. And in order to, replace the amazing woman that I lost, I would have to find another amazing woman. And in the world that we live in, that would have to be my wife. And I had to, continue to live on my purpose. And luckily enough, she walked right up to me, and she seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. So all I needed to do was show her that she was right. And me being a better man every day, proved to her that when she walked up to me and she introduced herself, that she made a great choice. And I was never going to make her second guess that choice.
And man, look, one, condolences to the family that you lost. Two, and then look, that's fire, man. That's fire. Because, one thing I listened to very carefully was knowing that when you lost something so important dear to your heart, you had to find something to, I wouldn't even say replace, but I would say add on to reunite. Let me ask you this, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you believe that love is not just the emotion, but it's also the true visual of action for the simple fact of what you're willing to do for someone else other than yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I absolutely believe love is an action word, and I think even better than that, it's just consideration. I think if you're willing to consider somebody, that's love, man. If you don't like roller coasters, you can't stand roller coasters, you never been on a roller coaster a day in your life, and that girl, that guy, they ask you, get on this roller coaster with me, and you go, let me think about it. I really don't like roller coasters, but let me think about it. You know what? No. I think that thinking about it is love. Even considering doing something that you would never do, you know what I mean, for somebody else. I think that's what love is, man. Keeping somebody in your head throughout the day. Something reminds you of them, a song, a smell, a movie. That's love. So I think you should show them that love, while they're here, and love up on them.
And then that's good. That's great. So let me ask you this, Pete. So I asked you, would love for a man be of the action? So for that same flip of transaction, wouldn't love from the words be for the woman?
I think it's still an action. I think it's if we asking what does it look like in a woman, I think it's just admiration of a man being willing to coexist, considering his emotions, considering his existence, considering his feelings, his point of view, his DNA, and all of the rest of it, but just giving him that consideration, like I said, man, I think is love, and I think you show that in your actions. If I ask you how your day was, I think you should ask me how my day was in reciprocation. I don't think you should be waiting for me to ask you another question on top of, you know what I mean? And it's just that dynamic, those little things that we don't see. If I'm concerned with you, you should have a certain level of concern with me. And if it's not reciprocated, I love myself so much that I'm going to notice that. And if you notice that I'm not around, it's because you wasn't showing me no love.
I hear you. Okay. I hear you on that. So I'm going to do this one question that's a little bit off, but it comes back to everything else. So in this space of social media amongst YouTube, and thank you, Marcus. But in this space of YouTube, we heard of dudes called the incels, right? And as we all know, it's mostly guys that are pretty much locked away from society in a sense. from how they talk or how they operate. But want to ask you this: as far as for as much as you've heard of incels, wouldn't you not also, in a sense, call it self-preservation of their image of who they are?
Of course. I mean, that's the first rule of nature, man. Self-preservation. So we do that either consciously or subconsciously. So I would absolutely agree with that. And again, they have a different way of operating, and that's always been. There's always been, people who are a little more uh recluse, a little more, introverted, so to speak, and that's to be that's to be expected. I think that it's the interaction, the social interaction, is what people notice, and I think if they were just more able to, when they do, you know, decide to come out and embrace society, to be a little more socially acceptable, socially confident, versus being, quiet, socially awkward, not picking up on cues. So while you're sitting at home and chilling to yourself, you can absolutely be doing research on just social cues, the different things that are happening in pop culture, to keep up, so that when you do decide to come out, you can kind of fit in and chameleon to those normies, quote unquote, and kind of work the room. But I'm kind of like you. I learned how to differentiate, just like with everything else, man. I'm a sports person, so I'm in the gym, and then I'm at work, I'm in the office, and then I'm on the block, I'm around gangsters, and then I'm with the girls, I'm around sophisticated ladies. So I'm always having to, so it started to become kind of a skill to cater to your audience. And then I went to college, and you have speech class, and they tell you, you cater your speech to your audience, and if they don't get it, you reword it, you reframe it, whatever you got to do, but the responsibility's on you. And again, I've come from this era where the responsibility is always on you. If they're not getting it, then re-put it so that they can get it. If it's not working, then you rework it so that it is working, but it's never blame somebody else. So I think that's the difference between the cloth that I'm cut from and these younger modern men, is that they just don't have that social confidence that's required in order for you to let people know you like me. You just don't know it yet.
And I'm glad you said that, because you know what, I ain't gonna lie. I said this in another channel, and I basically said something similar to that, right? Because I say it like this: when I was going to school, I was in different pockets. But if I had to literally sit here and say, if I had to choose one pocket within societal school norms, right, where I would have to be more than anything else, and it would more likely be with the nerds and or geeks, however you want to call it, however you want to picture, because they like to split them in. They like to give this one differentiate, whatever. But I'll be with them because mostly they're the ones that understood the comics, the anime, and all that stuff. I'll be over there. But the reality is, I'm in every other area. I'm in the sports. I'm in this crowd. So I knew a lot of other people. But I think in a lot of sense of survival, we all would have to be in this. Because even if you're in that little bubble always doesn't benefit you. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't make you less than just because you're in it either. Because I always say, I remember I said and said this, right? I will be I forgot how I phrased it, but I always say that I live in my own bubble. I literally do. But you know what? Me living in my own bubble was worth it than me constantly being out here in this world, losing my mind. Because I'll sit here and say this: I'd rather have been in my bubble, and I'm still thinking, and I'm still looking at a lot of things different, versus being out there and then probably slowly consider myself what everybody else is thinking. And you know what? Me personally, I'm glad I'm an outcast in society, because I'd rather be out this way than be within the crowd following the same tip.
Nah,
So,
get that. I get that. I'm a little bit different. I'm more of a social butterfly, or even a damn iguana, because like I said, I wanna interchange, and I wanna kind of be able to understand everybody's plight, because you know I'm kind of everybody. Like I said, I'm in the sports. I'm over with the intellectuals. I'm with the comic book guys, and I think that's the difference. Some people, you know, I'm unapologetic about it, man. Just like I was on Monday when I was sitting with the sports guys and I was talking about Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley. I'm unapologetic on Tuesday when I'm sitting with the geeks and the comic book guys and we talking about Black Panther and we talking about Marvel. And I'm apologetic on Wednesday when I'm sitting with the girls and I'm trying to get my Mac on. And I'm unapologetic on Thursday when I'm sitting with the business guys and we talking about, you know, going into the next business venture or whatever we doing. But I think that's the thing. Everybody's trying to fit into what people expect them to be and what crowd they expect them to be in. But you should just be unapologetically you and stop worrying about who's the next Michael Jordan and the next LeBron James. Just be the first you. And I think that's where people go wrong. I really don't want to be anybody except who I am. Sean, Mr. HeSaid, Malcolm, Magneto, Malcolm X. Like, I take a little bit of what I like from everybody to make this fruit punch that is me. Because I don't know what it is to be a man. I don't know what it is to be a father, to be a brother. I didn't have these things as examples to me. So I have to piece it together as I go. And if I get it from Black Jesus from Good Times or Dwayne Wayne from Different World, you see, that's the difference. I'm looking to my aspirations. I'm at least trying to piece it together versus saying, I don't have no examples. Nobody didn't show me. No, I'll make it up as I go along and I'll stand on my square. And if I get some things wrong, if I need to backtrack, I'll do that. But as a man, I have to take a position. I have to take a stance one way or another to get the ball rolling.
So, all right. So let me give you another reason why I asked you about the incels. See, because one thing is, I'm pretty sure most incels are probably into the comic book world scenery, right? And I think to myself, how do you guys can sit here and say you call yourself incels, but then yet you guys see these comics? You're trying to tell me you can't reflect yourself within these comic book heroes? Like perfect example, Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Let's go.
Like, let's be real here, right? We all can sit here and say this, right? We all sit here and say in these spaces, men always got to sacrifice for the better good of the community, the better good of the world, right? Spider-Man did the same thing. But hey, he was a nerd. He was a smart man. He was a scientist. But the thing is, if you don't put your mind to it enough to put yourself up there and say, you know what? This is you. You may not have the power, but that doesn't mean you don't got the power. You have to be willing enough to form that power within you to be somebody. And if you don't do that, then how are you gonna be anybody? You like, come on. I think when people choose, because when people choose to be in these shadows and sitting dormant, it's like you're just locking yourself away from your greatness. And I don't see why they do that. And salute, man, what it do?
No, you're absolutely right. And Spider-Man is a perfect example. And like you said, he was smart. I don't know any of them that wasn't. You know, that would probably be the conversation I want to have is who's the smartest superhero, because they all pretty damn smart. But he was young, and think about this, yo. He had a messed up life, and then he got superpowers, and then his life got even more messed up. Most people think that when you become a superhero, life gonna get better, but it got more complicated for him. He had to, you know, like you said, balance these two worlds of what he wanted to ultimately become. And I think he's a great example of, like you said, this self-preservation, this duality that is life, and how superheroes, we can identify ourselves in them. And, you know, like you said, I don't see how you guys can't see the greatness inside of you just based off the comics that we read, the superheroes that we identify with, that we see ourselves in, the Captain Americas, the Iron Mans. These guys weren't the most popular. Well, maybe Iron Man was, but Captain America, no. And what it can become, the trajectory that you can put yourself on by just being willing to sacrifice for a greater good. And you know, although those specific stories don't speak to our stories, but I think in general the overall story of sacrificing for a greater good to become the change that's necessary, I think is ultimately what we identify with and what we should identify with. Iron Man was just a philanthropist, billionaire, playboy, genius.
Hey man, you're right. But you know what? I'm glad you actually mentioned a different hero. Captain America, right? Perfect example. We all know origin stories. Captain America was a scrawny dude, right? But they had to insert
Brooklyn, baby.
Yeah. But you know, they had to inject a serum just to make him more bolder, more stronger, to maximize his human abilities. But notice, it's the same way. If they were to inject going to the gym more and working out and getting a more of a better physique, you'd be more appealing to people. Like, a lot of these things are right in our faces. We just don't know it. But we have to be able to extract the visual and really get what we're really getting out of it. And I think sometimes we tend to not really see the big picture that's in front of us, that's so clear in our eyes. Now, as far as the smartest superhero, now, if for Marvel,
let's go.
We know that Iron Man's right there. We know Iron Man's one of the highest one out there. One of them. I didn't say
smart.
He's
pretty smart. I don't know. Hank Pym is pretty smart.
Are you talking about the Beast?
Ant-Man? Hank Pym?
Oh, okay, Ant-Man. Ant-Man, yeah, I'll give it to Ant-Man.
No, not him. Not
not him.
The guy who made the pin serum. Wasp's father. Okay. He's pretty smart, but again, all of them are really smart, Wally. Like, I don't know any really dumb superheroes. The Hulk is incredibly smart.
Yeah. The guy that is the Hulk, yeah, he is. I mean, and that's
Iron Man
right?
and the Hulk made Vision, right? They created him.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Which also then alternated into Ultron. So yeah. Yep. Right.
Batman's pretty smart. He's rich, but he's smart.
My thing with Batman though, I wouldn't. He's smart, but he's not the top. Cause I'll say this: for most of his reasoning for being smart is because he had time to be smart. But most cases, for most people, could think about it. When he made all those contingency plans, he had time to make those contingency plans for those guys.
It's true.
But if they didn't give them to him, he would never have those plans to be content with.
Look what E-Man said. E-Man said being rich is a superpower. That's what's up,
mean, and look, in a lot of ways it is. You know, if you use it right, depending on what you're doing, yeah, it is. You know? So yeah. But I mean, but even when it comes to Marvel, I think the smartest one was they would say is Reed Richards though. Mr. Fantastic.
Right, yeah, Mr. Fantastic. They would. I think they would. Would.
Even though I ain't gonna lie though, if you can read minds, I mean, between Magneto or Mr. Professor X,
yeah.
you know that whole secret section to be like, oh, we're gonna know where they're gonna attack now.
True indeed.
So yeah, it's heavy. But look. We talked about the live. We talked about yourself as course. I throw myself a little bit in there for an example. So let's really get into this bad boy. Let's really get into it.
Let's go. Let's get it.
So ever since you got into DC and Marvel, for you, what has been your top? What has been the giant of comic books? What has been your favorite?
Oh man, by far, Black Panther. It introduced me, to somebody that looked like me, being a superhero, being a heavy hitter in the Marvel world, and it just sparked my love for being able to identify, like I said, man, with doing different, with seeing something different, and knowing that the world is bigger than just this Brooklyn hellhole that I felt like I was caught in at the time. and Black Panther by far. Marvel, Stan Lee, the way he, you know, created X-Men from Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was incredible.
Oh yeah, bro, that was beautiful, man.
So, you know, that's where I leaned, and, you know, T'Challa, him being married to Storm, and just his whole story I was fascinated with, and it just went from there. And it's no different today. You know, Black Panther was a great movie. I didn't like the second one all that much. I think they could have, you know, kind of reverted back to comic book form to kind of bring the story full circle and still save, you know, his character and his storyline. But they kind of went in a different direction. So I was disappointed in that. But by far, man, Black Panther, my favorite.
Right. Basically, your Team Marvel then, right?
Oh, absolutely. I love the Joker and Harley because of what they symbolize for me and the misses, and just love and how it's powerful. Love is a powerful thing. Even evil people, even sadistic people, psychotic, sociopathic, whatever you want to call it. But love is love, man, and you can't deny it. So I identify with them, and of course, you know, we love the Batman story, the Superman story, because those are the oldest. But
right.
I'm definitely Team Marvel. Definitely Team Marvel.
Okay. Now, I would say I tend not to really choose sides between the two, because they both got their ups and downs. I like literally, like, they really got their ups and downs. I mean, honestly, I get DC, like, TV show, like cartoon animation and their cartoon animation movies. I get that to DC hands down. Marvel couldn't compete with that too much.
No, I agree with that. The only reason that I lean toward Marvel is because, you know, again, when I was reading, I was a kid, and DC is more like the parents, and Marvel was more gearing toward the actual readers. So when I see Superman, I see Batman, they're very morally upstanding, they're very mature. But when I go to Marvel, I get people that look like me, that have problems like me, you know what I mean, that are going through growing pains. I get X-Men that are me. They're absolutely me. They are ridiculed and prosecuted for being different, and their powers display at puberty. And it's just that spoke to me so much that, you know, I just had to lean toward Marvel. But again, DC, they just had the mature moral compass stories that when you see a Superman story, a Batman story, you want to be the good guy. You don't want to be the bad guy after reading one of those comic books.
Yeah, I give it to you on that, because you want to know, because when you mention about the X-Men series, especially the X-Men series, like, this is like, I ain't gonna lie, look, when it comes to Marvel, I mean, I know most people will sit here and say, you know, the Avengers, but for me, the X-Men series, that was a smack of it all. Like, it's the stories that it exposed was so heavy, and I'm surprised, because I didn't think, you know, back then I didn't think of it, but now I constantly keep visualizing the new scenarios of it, because one of my favorite characters out of the X-Men when I watched X-Men Evolution was your boy Spike.
Yeah.
That dude, bro. That dude, like, look, he wasn't too big at the time, but, you know, he was definitely one of those up and comers. And when they showed that episode of him drinking that juice that was for the mutants to affect him and, you know, outrage his mutant powers, first thing first that I saw was the evolution of it. When he evolved the way he did, I was like, bruh.
Talk about it.
I was so in love, bro. I was in love with his image, bro. It was like, thank you. Like, that thing was sick. That was sick. The image of him was so sick, it was amazing. But the one thing I will sit here and say, if I had to come back to the art form of that storyline, was what? America tends to inject poison in society through foods that we eat. And you can tell just by the drink. We drink junk. You know, if we don't really read these labels like we're supposed to, because they literally give us the list for it, we can be affecting ourselves on a daily basis. I mean, one of the many things that they talk about us in, you know, on our social group because I can't really call it a community yet, but in our social group, we have a health problem. Why is that? Because most of these foods that we're drinking or eating is causing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, the Red Bulls, the what do you call them, Monster energy drinks. So, you know, they have the juices. We have to be mindful. And again, I'm not saying don't indulge. Don't have yourself a pleasant cocktail or a Monster or a Red Bull. But I'm just saying you don't need it every day. Have a water in between. Have 2 waters in between. Just, you know, be selective, be mindful, and be understanding that this is a conscious decision. You make, you know, these choices, and we can't deny that these are the choices we make. But you got some questions in there. Hulk was a meth head like his counterpart Bruce Banner.
Oh, how dare you. Hey, yo, Jay, real quick, pull this up. Yeah. So, John Willis, this is Spike.
Yeah.
This is his evolution. Like, this was beast.
Yeah.
This is beast. Like, that armor, oh man, bro, this made me fall in love with him big time. Like, this is one of the big time black characters in X-Men, the youthful ones. That, you know, when he evolved, that this was like major. I was so in love with this, man. I was so in love with this.
Shout out to Don GQ. Peace to the God.
What it is, Don. What it is. But you know, this was like just one of the many characters that I just, you know, tend to fall in love with. Like, he was really like, I loved everything. Like, his whole armor, aesthetics, everything of that nature, it was very much appealing. So, you know, when they evolved him the way they did, it was the massive jumping upgrade. And I was so pleased with it. I was so pleased. Even though it came at what they were selling within the storyline, which was very true, but it literally showed like his evolution was so impactful. Because the one biggest thing is that they truly keep on going and got it correct, we can make a case. He could have started an X-Men that were for mutated mutants, right? By the drink. So he would start that X-Pack of grouping, like, for everyone that is this, you know, that was ever mutated, come here, follow me. We will learn to control our powers and our safeties and build off of that. Because when he left, he really grew up ever since he got affected the way he did. And I was just amazed, man.
John Wallace said, nah, bro, Wolverine is better than him.
Here's my problem. Look, I love Wolverine. Don't get me wrong. It's all good in the box of gravy. But let's be real here. Wolverine would have got ripped left and right thanks to his manitanium. Well, sorry, the steel, the rare steel that's from Africa within him. He would have got baked just because Magneto. And plus, to be honest, his real form would have been better than the one he has on him. Don't get me wrong, though, that it still would have been good. But his real form would have been better. And we all know it because look at Sabretooth.
Look at E-Man's comment. I always like the Hulk. Hulk was the definition of men. Have a lot of power, but not knowing how to control it.
Hey,
that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Wolverine
has made a better impact. Autocorrect. Made better impact. Well, we all know he made a better impact. He always soloed. Soloed.
Yeah, and
technically, Wolverine was like the Batman of that whole thing.
Yeah, he carried him along.
Yeah. But my thing is with Wolverine was, I don't got no problem with Wolverine because he's definitely that guy. But I'm saying, as far as the youth, he would have been that guy. He should have been the guy that did that for those mutated mutants.
Yeah.
Because think about it, it's the same way with if you go to DC, right? Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, he did the same thing. He went off Team Titans. They became the Titans.
Indeed.
Split. But you know what I'm saying? And then they created the new wave. So, you know, it's the same thing. I think that could have been a definite sell if they actually went that route. But, you know.
It's funny that E-Man said that about the Hulk. No, not E-Man. E-Man said the Hulk was like men. I believe it was John Wallace that said the Hulk was the meth head. In the 50s, it was a big congressional blockage of comic books, or at least they tried. They didn't succeed, but some of the reasons was Superman was kind of exuding superiority, and he wanted to see, wrongdoers be done harm, while he was above the law, and no one can tell him that he was ever doing wrong. And their gripe with the Hulk, I believe they had a gripe with the Hulk. And Batman and Robin, they thought depicted two gay men spending a lot of time with each other, and Wonder Woman was more of a feminist. So, you know, alluding to John Wallace's comment, it was a lot of slight and a lot of negative comments aimed toward the comic book industry for the stories that were helped and save the country at the time by banding us together, against war, against enemies. And it was just so instrumental to me to see that, us as a society can point the finger at something as honest and as innocent as comic books, when they were just trying to build the morale of the people.
Mm-hmm. So, John Wallace, you're talking about how would Red Hood fit in the Marvel universe? I wouldn't really know, because I don't know where he would be positioned. I mean, mostly he would be the villain if he flipped over.
Right, and I don't even know how he would fit in Marvel, because isn't that like a kind of alluding to a Joker kind of origin, the Red Hood, if I'm not mistaken?
Right, because the thing is with the Red Hood, right? This version of the Robin, when Batman found him, he was just a young kid that was in a lot of rage or a lot of anger. So he trained him to control that aspect about him, which eventually he did, right? The only thing is, once it got to that part with the Joker, and he finally lost, Tim Drake, if I'm not mistaken, that's who that is for the first one. Then after that, of course, that all happened.
Yeah, that's the one that died, right? And then he got the Jason dude after that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because once he got him, he got him. The funny thing though, Ra's al Ghul, he revived him. So he was somewhere else in the world for all this time. And I guess he was just sitting around laying back, trying to figure out why Batman never avenged his livelihood after the Joker took it away from him. Which, that was one of the most pretty highest birth points of it all, because, as we all looked at the video game, right? The video game aspect world, they evolved that into him being the Arkham Knight, which then, of course, after he was done and he left, he reverted to now becoming the Red Hood, which honestly is the best version of him, at all time. So, yeah.
What else we got? I think E-Man put one in there. He said, I really like
Yeah.
Magneto too. I just understood their anger because I was very angry as a child. Me as well.
Yeah.
That might be why he's my favorite.
Yeah, my thing's with Magneto, right? Because, like you alluded to earlier, right? Magneto, he took the stance of Malcolm X. Professor X took the stance of MLK. And even if these two guys were both friends, they were both at odds because they message and what they believed was the correct way to free their people of these burdens. Was it helping the scenario be the end cause? So, of course, that always got them into war with the everyday humans of the world. But it was one of those big points, though, right? Because with Magneto, my thing is with him was, I have no problem with his standpoint because I see it from his end, right? When you try to ostracize somebody just because they're different and you want to be the big bad doggy bully, and then he chooses to push back, now you're afraid of him and you're calling him the villain. You're calling him the monster. But in reality, you are. But the thing is, they're making the world say it's you. And it's the same way with us. They're making the whole world say it's us. But but let's be real. You can't tell us in our world that there's 10 to 15% of us out here, but then yet imagine we're on the freaking news channels every damn night. Make that make sense? But I'm not gonna try to make that a thing because you know how it is. But it was just one of the biggest parts of the Marvel universe that really showed that light.
indeed. John Wallace said, do you agree that Orion could make a better X-Men than Colossus since he can beat most of them? I mean, he got super strength and invulnerability. Don't he got immortality too? Like he's
yeah. My thing is with Colossus being the leader of it. It's like, all right, it really didn't make no sense. And I personally, from that standpoint, I didn't know where they were taking that, because I know when I watched Deadpool, right, and they showed that he was basically running the manor, I didn't know what stance or what positioning of that time frame were they reflecting upon. I don't know if that's what's because, you know, Professor X, he magically disappeared and he actually time traveled to a different universe or a different time, or, you know, what time of that, or neither was he psychologically, you know, in dormant because he was sleeping at a time, right? So I don't remember that time frame, but, you know, yeah. I mean, I definitely believe that he would, because it just makes sense. But
yeah,
even then,
it makes sense. But, you know, again, DC, he got to cross over. So, you know, we got to make that happen first, logically.
Mm-hmm.
But great.
Hey,
great
JBWR, man, salute to you, man. Thanks for coming by, man.
Salute.
Also, congratulations on that 1K, brother. Hey, good luck, man. Good luck on your steps.
You.
All right, so E-Man says, how did y'all feel about Bane from Batman?
Bane whooped Batman's ass.
Man, look, I'm gonna tell you how I see this, man. Wait, are we talking about from the movies or from the animated series? Say
right.
which one.
Right.
Say which one. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, in the movies, oh yeah, Bane broke that man. Even in the cartoons, right? He broke them too there as well.
Yeah.
But my thing is with Bane is just nothing but a chop. Okay, so he said from both. Okay, look.
He said both. Okay.
All right, so look, I'm gonna take it from this perspective. Bane in the animated series was a good character, but he was just an average Joe. You know, snip off the dang liquid injections. He ain't nobody. He's just a poison, thin, old mother-loving creeper under a mask, not never showing his veins. With big veins, exactly. He ain't really worth. Like, if you had to put him on a scale of villains, he's up there, but he ain't the top dude like that. He ain't worth it like that. Man, look, any damn day, if you had to put him against Juggernaut cleaning him every day of the week. Not every day of the week, but, you know, I think Bane at best had Batman in the animated series at least one solid time overall. Like, literally. And that's because he was able to play. Yeah, no, in the movie. Yeah, oh, yeah, he jacked him up. He jacked him up big time. He jacked him up big time. He jacked him up big time, for real. You know what, look, E-Man, I agree with you, but here's my thing. We all know we have to play to the point of what was really of them intellectually. And we all know that Batman, he went through a different rigorous training as far as the anime series, because Batman went through something way beyond what Bane went through. Bane is nothing but a jacked up, spare-word, muscular dude that just has power, but he don't really know how to use it that well. Well, okay, I'm not gonna say he don't know how to use it that well, but he is not as skilled combat-wise as Batman is. So Batman been through those pains. He's been there, done that. He's gonna class him. But as far as that movie, though, that's a different story. That Bane shut him down. That Bane shut him down. All right, let me get quick to what Marcus was saying real quick. So Deadpool wasn't running the X-Men Mansion. He was visiting in Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. He called or recruited Colossus and Nergon Sonic, teenager Warhead. Yeah, I know that. I didn't say he was running it. I never said he was running it. I know he visited there. I never said he was running it, though. Also remember when Deadpool started recruiting the X-Force. But again, I never said he was running it, though. I never said anything. I just said to that time point of Colossus running it, I said what was going on in that time phase. I don't know if you missed that part, so I'm just making sure you know. And of course, John Wallace said who would win between Deadpool and Deathstroke. Look, I know there's that funny video out there amongst YouTube talking about this death battle between Deadpool and Deathstroke. Honestly, man, look, if it was me, I choose Deathstroke. But I know that video said Deadpool. But hey, I can't knock it.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I might go with Deathstroke. I mean, he's a master assassin, among everything else that he, military and martial arts, and like he got it all. I don't know. I might go with Deathstroke. What you think, John? Who you think, man? Shout out to Sir Hale on the check-in. Peace to the God.
Yeah, but I'll say this to be fair though, right? Because Deadpool, he did have experience being one of those assassins too, though, because he was a part of the same team as Wolverine and his brother Sabretooth, which is why he got those animated swords, though.
This is true.
Yeah. So I do give him that. Plus, at least with him, even if he had that that sickness, and then of course he decayed it with that scientist, I know he may have been worse, but even then his healing factor is still a good one, even though it's sort of conflicted between his sickness one way or the other. But I mean,
Deathstroke got superior intellect as well. I'm not sure about. I don't know.
Deadpool. I know people
He's good at what he do, though.
Think about Deadpool, but I tell you this: if Deadpool pull away, my thing is this: Deathstroke is serious. Deadpool is a joker, but with great combat ability. So it's just his humor. I mean, take away the humor, he's a serious dude, though. I give it
absolutely. He might and he might win just so he could joke about it. Just knowing that he won't be
right.
able to joke about it after might be the fuel that he
right.
needs to.
But real quick, Sir Hell, salute to you. Thank you for coming by, brother. I know you didn't know the channel, but I'm glad you did. So thank you for coming by to the interview. Let me make sure I get this compelled. John HQ. Okay, John Wallace, I'm gonna get to that point right there. Give me a moment of that other comment you made. Okay, so JBW. Yeah, what up?
Yeah, what's up? I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm letting you guys still rock or whatever. Like I said, I'm gonna still be here.
All right, no problem.
And I'm just like I said, I'm keeping up with the comments. Don't worry, guys. And I know you're getting
right.
to one by one.
Oh, yeah, no worries, no worries. But I will say this:
don't let it distract you, though.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. You're good. Yeah, don't worry about it. JBWR. So you asked Master Assassin versus Insane Healing Factor. I'm gonna be very honest with because technically, I know there's some parts in the comments, and I say some that does speaks to Deathstroke's kind of healing factor, but it's not like high. Like as far as I read or know, it's not that high, but he got some of it. But my thing is, like I said, it's very combative. It's very combative because when you've been a part of Brayshaw Ghul's training, you take a lot of heavy blows, man. You can take a lot of heavy blows. But nonetheless, like I said, I'm not. It can go either way for me, but I still would love to Deathstroke personally. That's just me. But real quick. So going back to John Walsh, you said Red Hood versus the Winter Soldier. Now, oh man, look,
it did a death battle of that already, and Winter Soldier beat the shit out of fucking Red Hood.
Yeah, good for him. My thing is,
I wanted to add to the convo on that on the comic thing, but that was one of the ones I wanted to let people know. Like, listen, I'm a fan of both those dudes, but I know bar none, Winter Soldier beats the hell out of Red Hood, and I'm a fan of both. I know bar none. Like, bro, it's Bucky Barnes, bro. And don't even get me started if you did MCU, it's even worse. Because the comic book version, Bucky doesn't have it doesn't have super soldier serum. He's just a dude who's really well tactical, really good at sniping, and an expert at hand-to-hand combat similarly. Which is why he was picked to be the next Captain America, because of those skills of longevity. So he's still dangerous. Don't get it twisted without that serum. But if you give him MCU, bro, it's not even close, bro.
Real quick, tag along E-Man's comment real quick. Was the Black Panther 2 a shot to Aquaman? Now, What do you mean exactly a shot, Tim? Because I want to know what you mean by that exactly.
I can answer that. No, it wasn't a shot. It was much more so. Listen, okay, so everybody knows DC and Marvel copy from each other, but technically, so let's get something straight. Namor came out before Aquaman was ever created. In his publication, If you go back to the old issue, Namor was the first Atlantean. Aquaman came after. So let's get that straight. He's the first merman. Aquaman is second.
What about
he got more popular is because the reason why he got more popular was because they put him together with the Justice League. That's how his popularity started to rose, and then that was a matter of comic book selling because his stories were really good. Namor was around with Captain America and like the first Fantastic Four around that time, and he had team ups, but like what made him very popular was his rivalry with Black Panther in the books because they're one of the best rivalries in the comic books of Marvel, and trust me, man. And then trust me, they've gone at each other multiple times, like full on Wakandans versus Atlanteans. Now with Black Panther, what Black Panther 2 did, they changed it up a little bit. So instead of just making them Atlanteans, they named them Talocans. They're Atlanteans, but they're just called Talocans, and it's based on the Mayan, more like a culture. He's the first mutant there, and also I heard literally gave the other people, the ability to turn blue, breathe underwater, superhuman strength, all that noise. But that's what it was a shout out to. They were trying to do that story with Chadwick still alive, and it probably would have been. I'm not gonna lie, if Chadwick was alive for that to do that story, which the original script was said to do really well, it would have been awesome. Because I know Ryan Coogler already had the original script down, so it wasn't a shot at Aquaman. They just wanted to wait to see how Aquaman did over in DC because they're worried about bringing him in for his own either solo movie or like quote unquote a sequel of Black Panther. But that's all I gotta say. That's really what it was. It was just a way to bring him in. Plus, I'm a Namor fan from the books. I love Namor a lot, and I think the Namor in the movie was amazing. Now they did. Now one thing I wasn't really a fan of is that they gave him that weakness, which should have been Aquaman's weakness, really, because the more he's away, he should be freaking dehydrated. Because the biggest problem in the Aquaman movie even though I love that movie, they fall into a desert, literally fall in desert, both of them. One is full on Lantern, one is half. Okay, so Aquaman, he's half Atlantean, you can let that slide, whatever. How the hell is Mirror still walking around like it's fine? That made no sense at all. But other than that, I just wanted to point out that comment. Go ahead, Wally.
Well, technically, because that's the thing that's weird, though, because when they explain that storyline in the movies, my thing is, wasn't that woman a human? So technically, shouldn't he be half human?
Who? Namor?
Namor, yeah. Namor.
Namor is a mixture of both. He's so basically, he's like, okay, so he's half, his origin's the same. The difference with him is, with Black Panther 2, he's half Atlantean and he's a mutant, which like gives him more more strength than the average Talokan Atlantean, because he can go down deeper, do more damage, and absorb more of the water. Now they're still stronger than regular baseball kind of soldiers, though. So don't get it twisted. But he is both. The difference with him is that he can fly, something Aquaman can never do. And he flies really fast. And and the thing is, whenever he's out of the water, which all these Hulk fans, because I want to get on the Hulk, all you Hulk fanboys, listen, your base Hulk, Namor can contend with that. He's above the Spider-Man strength class. Base Namor outside the water is above Spider-Man class, way above that. Like he's drawing blood from Hercules, all these other cats. Like, bro, people he shouldn't really be able to draw blood from. I'm talking about without being water dipped. He shouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, man. Like, so Namor's that dude, man. He has a lot of he's more physical than he is speed. So I do want to point that out. He's more strength and durability. So I just want to give my man Emmanuel Williams some knowledge on there. So sorry to break up the interview, guys. Sorry about that. But it's fun to answer that question.
We asked the question.
No. Go ahead, guys.
But so look, going back to that comment, which one? Okay, Red Hood versus Winter Soldier. if I had to pick between them. I ain't gonna lie, this is just me, because this is just me. I mean, it can go either way for me, honestly. But if I had to choose, just because what I like to choose, I will go with Red Hood. I'll go with Red Hood for me.
That's cool. I'll balance it out with Bucky. Brooklyn, baby. Bucky, get him, Bucky.
Oh yeah, by the way, I want to say this. Shout out to Mr. He said, you said you're a veteran, brother. Thank you. Hey brother. Thank you for your service.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate that. I'll say that to all my fellow.
And you see that says Brooklyn veteran.
New York veteran, Brooklyn and New York
services. Right, I fought against Giuliani, stop and frisk, shit like that. That's what I survived.
Oh, damn! Hey, that's good to you, man.
And even then, if you ain't, I still respect it, regardless of anything. That's a feat in itself, brother. Hey man, right. I mean, he should be a Captain America fan actually because of that. Because he's from Brooklyn too.
Oh, absolutely, Brooklyn, baby, Brooklyn. Hey, shout out to Captain America.
Hey man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Steve Rogers is my boy. Like the movie version of him, I mess with him all day. I'm like, yo, they a beast.
And I mean, and that's what Wally was alluding to. That's what we should identify. That fight, that grit, that determination. That you might beat me up, but you're gonna have to beat me up all day. And you're gonna have to beat me up tomorrow, and it's not the person that you're fighting. It's my spirit. It's my heart, right. And I got the heart of a giant. Even if I'm 6 feet, 165 pounds, I'm the smallest giant in the world, and I get that from Captain America. I could do this all day.
Yeah, because he took a beating, boy. I remember he took a beating during that war, boy.
He did. He did. Like, Captain America was one of the crazy. Like I tell people, like, listen.
That man was like, "Come on, I'm with you." They were doing the wall. They were doing the wall with it. He was getting clean with it.
I got to check out actually when he breaks down the feats of all comic book characters. Like he goes over all the comics. Ivan the Unstoppable. It's a black brother that does all the feats. He did all the Luke Cage. He did Captain America. Captain America got some crazy stuff. Like the people who he beats out of his weight class. Like literally, I'm talking about just being tactical, smart. Where people think that Batman's just so smart. I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. Cap would wreck that motherfucker. I'm sorry. If he actually got in a hand-to-hand fight, I'm pretty sure Cap would get 5 wins out of that motherfucker. There's no way. Like, because Cap can take hits.
Okay, what combat skills was Captain America really taking?
Say what?
What combat skills was Captain America ever took?
He took them all when he got unfrozen. The base ones he had was already when he was frozen, which is what Aikido, Judo, kickboxing.
So Captain America had that skill set?
He had all those, and then after he got unfrozen, he learned all the new ones when he got unfrozen to the new one because he had to catch up. Even the movies like Captain America 2.
Check that out.
Well, I'll say this in Captain America 2. I tell people, since people can't go by comic books, go by the movies. Realize his fighting style was very different in 2 than it was in 1. And after the Avengers, the first movie, right? Very different. Because guess what? The way he beat up those agents and everything, like his stealth, how he did everything, that wasn't his style back then. That's his style now. Because in the books it was stated Beast actually did this, and this is why he's actually more dangerous than Deathstroke. Beast said, "You're very adept and you can learn things so much quicker, and you're able to use more capacity of the brain because of that super soldier serum." So another thing Batman lacks is that he's able to draw out more brain capacity. And Deathstroke could do it too because of his own little thing they did to him, but Cap can utilize more. And he's able to master a style in like maybe a day. Like fully master it. Because people
we got one that took a nice injection. We got another one that went hard knocks and he just grinded out. Okay.
Say what?
No, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh no, I got you. But yeah, that's what he learned. Just because he's able to learn like that, and the fact that Beast called out Beast one of the smartest people in Marvel Universe too. He's like probably number 10 actually. And they were testing him to see what he could do outside. And I'm like, wait, you learn these freaking styles in a matter of like what, a couple of hours or some shit? And he's like, yeah. Now I know how it works, how to do it. Now I can incorporate it with my own fighting style now. And it's just like, yo, like Cap is a monster. I would.
So wait a minute, is that so? Are you using Captain America as far as to Batman or?
No. I'm calling out his feats. I'm calling out his feats. Like he could go toe to toe with him and like.
Okay. So you're just saying in general then.
In general, he could be like I'll say this. Okay. I'll say this for the DC fanboys, for more fanboys. I think it's this tie one. If you take away prep and all that shit for both sides, and they just go in to fight each other to know what each other's guy because both can think really good. I think it's a tie personally. I really want to give the slight edge to Cap because he has the power, the durability, and the stamina to last long. If we did MCU, it's like I said, it's not fair. That brother wanted against Thanos, so I don't want to hear that. Batman ain't doing that.
Well, we all know Thanos didn't have no powers other than that gauntlet. So let's be fair on that.
No. Even then, he still wrecked him. Captain America won. Once he got the momentum, he slammed him, choke slammed him. Like, nope, no more. And it just started hammering away. But every superhero gets a chance to shine. It just depends on what you like. But Mr. HeSaid, because since he is here, I do want to ask him this. Which moment did you like more in the Infinity War and in Endgame? Did you like Iron Man's moment one-on-one with Thanos, or did you like Captain America's one-on-one? Because both were like fire.
Absolutely, both were amazing. I think if I had to pick, I would pick Iron Man just because it comes full
it looked epic
for him, and that's just Iron Man. He has to be the man, he is Iron Man, and like I said, it just came full circle that he was the one that was able to get it done, and that fight was amazing. But like you said, both fights were fire. So
trust me, man, my theater went crazy when we saw it wasn't even the Iron Man symbol. We went all crazy when Cap got the hammer. I was like, I was in the theater. This is why I love Tampa people so much in Tampa Bay, Florida, bro. This is when I still lived there when I saw the movie. We was all cheering. I literally said, "Kick his ass, Cap." I literally said, "Kick his ass" with that hammer. that motherfucker was on a gunshot range hitting that shit. And I'm like, hell yeah, bro. This is like hype is all hell. And the audience, we're all cheering. I'm like, dude, these are real fans. That's what made the evidence, like that experience. That's why I didn't go see the movie again. They're gonna be able to replicate what I just felt with this crowd and with that movie. And just him summoning the lightning. I'm like, bro, that was too fire, bro. That was one of my favorites. But with the Iron Man one, I love that because he was on some Spartacus shit. He was going all out. Like, let's go all out, bro. Oh man.
I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I'm definitely going with Iron Man. Thanos snapping his behind, gone. Look, personally, the reason why I choose him, honestly, it was just more personal between him and Thanos. Just the conversation between those guys, it just made it so much more. And plus, when you listen to all the Easter eggs and the comic book articles out there, and they're trying to correlate between two why that happened, it just makes it so personal, and it makes it so much more epic because now it's like, oh yeah, it's like when you look back at it and you re-visualize and you're like, I see what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, he said, okay, since John wants us to answer this, and I because I think it's for everybody to answer. Said, which villains or heroes without superpowers? What do you mean? Okay, so you mean without like? Because you got to tell me base humans
without superpowers can beat Batman. Without superpowers, that's easy. Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor, yeah, that's one. Thanos is not really fair. No, Ra's al Ghul.
No, wait a minute.
No. Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul, absolutely. Whoop his ass.
He's more experienced than Batman. Like anybody watch freaking the freaking Green Arrow? He fucking killed Oliver Queen, so I don't want to hear that. If he's beaten, and that Ra's al Ghul was 200 years old.
Can I ask you one question? Pause. I want to ask you one question. You just said Ra's al Ghul.
He said he was Mr. HeSaid. Guess what? He played with him like he was a child. He wasn't even trying. He just kicked him in his arm a lot of times. Like, bro, this This is pathetic. Go ahead. What was your question?
He was never the true
Where you go,
successor.
Wally?
He was just a pawn in the game. Let's be real here. But look, nonetheless, my thing is this though. Out of everyone Ra's al Ghul wanted to be his successor, who he wanted to be his successor?
Batman.
So then I just find it hard to believe you would choose Batman. I mean, sorry, you choose Ra's al Ghul.
Batman. Batman choose Batman. But
nonetheless,
that's just with the Arrow series. They did that. That's because.
Well, I'm not talking about the Arrow. I'm talking about Batman versus him.
Hold on, Wally. That version of Batman, of Green Arrow for the Arrow series is like that. That's why they want that storyline. So.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's way more on a different level.
And plus, that's a CW. But
I mean, even if we look at CW, my thing is you can definitely tell. Like, look, if we can correlate storylines between Batman and the Green Arrow, we can definitely see the biggest difference between the two. Why he was more fascinated with the Batman, Bruce Wayne, more than he was fascinated with the Green Arrow. The Green Arrow wasn't just a promised child with riches. Bruce, he may have had riches, but that wasn't his main focus. His whole life changed after his own death of his parents, which now clouded his whole mind of justice. But it was in line with what he was with. This is what I'm saying. It's so much way more different than this. But nonetheless,
I got you.
My thing is right, but no problem. But look, I'll give it to you. I'll give you Ra's because there was a time he did beat him, so I can't disagree.
He's beat him twice. I remember him a few more times. That's because he comes back and he evolves. But also,
but my thing is,
first
even then.
First of all, there's no amount of prep that can prep him for a race. A race can literally do anything. Because
well, no, but let's be real. We're talking about a fight, but that's the thing, though. My only thing is when we talk about these fights, I'm saying this: are you okay, John Wallace? When you're talking about the fight against Batman, are you saying at their max capacity, or is that like? Because my thing is this: if we're talking about at their max point without powers, then I somewhat tend to disagree with the whole Ra's al Ghul fight. That's my thing, a little bit. So that's why I'm questioning, because I mean, usually when we talk about this, I hope we do know that it is going to be max. Because even with prep time, I'm thinking this: if we're talking about a certain moment in time, then that can't really count. Because that's a moment in time. That's easy for anybody to vote for it. Because we can say Bane, we can say anybody, because that's a moment in time. But we're saying maxed out. We know he knows me, I know him. I don't think Ra's is going to take him because, especially if he sees him as his successor.
I mean, I still lean toward Raja because again, he
Me
taught
too.
him. He can use that experience. He uses that seasoning, and whoop Batman ass. Batman is not the most savviest of fighters. We've seen Batman get his ass whooped a lot of times by
Oh yeah, but by the way,
people. So,
against Nightwing,
you know,
he did one against Nightwing. There was a card that came out 2 years ago. Check it out, where they're forced to fight each other, and Batman goes all against Nightwing, and Nightwing really gives him the shit. Like really, like all the times you've had to held back just because you're my son. Like no, this one time, Batman, I'm going all out, and then Nightwing says I'm going all out, and then he actually feels Dick's hits. Like literally, I was like, wow. Like Dick Grayson.
All right, so let me ask you.
So I'm not saying Batman's not weak by any means. I'm not shitting on him.
No, but this is my thing though. This is my thing though, right? Here's my thing. No, I know. Here's my thing though. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be very mindful about this, right? Has almost everyone amongst the Bat family, the core of guys on the Bat family, have everyone beaten Batman?
No. The only one that would even be close to be Nightwing. Like for example, so Mr. HeSaid, Batman's always said that the one he's always wanted as a true successor. If you want anybody to freaking take his place, not Damian, not Nightwing, not Red Hood, Tim. Because Tim has the detective mind, has the mind like he has. The only what he lacks out of all these Robins is fucking skill. That's what he lacks. The physical skill.
I mean, we all know because Red Robin, he was always the technical guy.
He's the technical one with the mind, and he has the detective mind like Batman does. That's why Batman said, "I want you to succeed." If you want to be Batman, it was going to be you. Dick, Dick has the skills. Dick has better acrobatics, almost as better than me. Things like that. He's come out and admitted that. But what Dick kind of lacks sometimes is the mind that I have. Detective mind, like to see things out the way that you do. And even though that Titans live action show is shit, like that Tim Drake they did, like that's Tim Drake in the books, like be able to put all this together. He's like, I know who Batman is, I know who Batgirl used to be and shit. Like he was just following shit, and I'm just like, yo, he just put shit together like an actual detective does. So, but like I said, he's just like skills. Like I'll say this: if you combine, I even say this, don't give him even Nightwing skills. If he just had Red Hood skills with that intelligence, then he'd be a force. He'd be reckoned with. But he doesn't have any of that. He's a good fighter, but not better than them.
I know, but look, here's my whole point though, right? Nightwing is literally like probably one of the best that came out as far as being able to stretch past being under Batman, right?
Yeah.
Here's my thing though. He never wanted Batman's life. We already exposed that he never wanted to be Batman. He'd rather be Nightwing. We all know he can't live up to it. Jason, he can live up to it as far as his detective skills, but when it's really trying to get on that ground and dirty, I don't think so. He can live up to his. Okay, look, JBWR. I'm gonna be real with you, bro. That age, get it out of here. Get it out of here. No, look, we're not doing the age argument. No, we're not doing that.
We can't do that. That's not fair.
Let's be real. To the comments and to the anime, and let alone even to the movies. No, that age. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare bring that here. Don't you dare.
My age would be Batman if he was broke, bro. He okay. Just stop.
But look, but my thing is this. No, but this is my thing, right? Almost every of these guys, one way or another, they're not even the full package version of him. Yeah, Jason Todd got Batman's brain.
Sorry, Wally. I'm answering your argument.
Go ahead. I know you got sense. Go. I know you got sense. Go ahead.
So what Wally is saying is that they have like special abilities. Like they're good at one particular thing. So for Nightwing, it's acrobatics. Like that's what he's the most acrobatic out of the whole Batman. Freaking Red Hood. Red Hood is smart, but he's not like Tim Drake. The thing is, he's more savage and he's more brutal, and he utilizes the weaknesses of other people. That's what makes him so bad. And not to mention lethal. He's very lethal. Now, when it comes to Tim,
E-Man, can you please ask? So, E-Man, can you I don't know if Mr. HeSaid remembers, but can you speak to what statement that Mr. HeSaid said so that he can remember fresh back? Yeah.
Go ahead, Wally. It's your turn. I think I covered everybody. And by the way, Damien just as illegal assassins trained, and then that's what he has going for him.
Right, but my thing is, right. Here's my thing though, right? And until E-Man brings up that what statement Mr. HeSaid said earlier, but my thing is this: when you look at Batman and then start to spread out his core, Nightwing morally had the skill set of combat. Red Hood had the viciousness, but that Batman never shows. Jason Todd had the brains. My thing is and then of course for Damien was a different package altogether because even Bruce didn't know what to expect from him. And personally, in combat, if I had to get to anybody, like really in combat wise, Damien was probably the closest one in my eyes overall. If you had to do 9 times out of 10 of a fight, even though technically when we see that that animated movie of when
Son of Batman.
No. I'm talking about when Darkseid takes over and he controls Batman. That Batman.
You're talking about Apocalypse War.
Yeah, because he actually beat up his son for that one. But my thing is, even then, just looking at that, all those other guys, one way or another, they all have that one different factor point that Batman has, but they're never the complete package to get it done. And even though, yes, Batman, he's a contradiction to himself as far as his ways of doing law within his hands because he doesn't really go through the whole thing like he should. But yeah, that's him. Nonetheless, but yeah, my thing is this is just if I'm looking at Matt's body of work, like full Matt's body of work. My thing is, why would I choose a successor, and yet he can't even defeat me to take my place? I just don't see that. But look, nonetheless, it is what it is. But let me see this.
Keep going. You said Red Hood's a
I
killer.
know JPW said Red Hood was a killer. Yeah. But because he was the flip version of Batman, basically, when he took that over. Even though there was one animated series that they showed that he actually converted that, but I forgot what version of him he called himself on that one. Or he probably still called himself Red Hood, but different.
Yeah.
I think DC has been unfair to Red Hood by not giving him Deadpool's power. What are you saying, man? I mean, I get what you're saying.
The whole Lazarus.
Yeah, but my thing is, even then, bro, it's like, man, come on.
Now that would be a power he would get if he was in the Marvel universe because of that shit. But no, but everybody has regenerative. I like Marvel because everybody has a regenerative healing factor. Some are quicker and stronger than others.
Pull up E-Man's real quick. So E-Man says, Mr. HeSaid was telling us why he believes that Ra's al Ghul would beat Batman. Why do he thinks it is the best option? Go ahead.
Yeah. Just the experience, man. Somebody put in the chat, you know, that he was arrogant, but I think that you know is just a displayance of character that can be tamed, and again, he's the successor, meaning once I'm finished, once I hang up my boots, you can have the mantle, and I think that experience is the teacher. And overall, you know, Ra's al Ghul, the proof is in the pudding, man. He trained Bane, he trained him, he trained a host of others, and I just think that, you know, that experience, that seasoning would outstand Batman. He's very impatient. Batman doesn't, you know, he's not very patient. He doesn't wait to pick his spots and wait for the right time. He kind of puts himself out there in his fighting styles and in his actions, and then he kind of corrects himself as he go. So, you know, Batman has never really been the best hand-to-hand combat superhero, in my opinion, and I just think Ra would get the upper hand on that.
Yo, Wally, the word you use, conquer or conquer? What is that?
A conquer, pause.
Yeah, no, because it's supposed to be an N, not a M. I don't know why they did that.
I'm about to say, is that a Spanish word? Because I'm thinking he misspelled, but like maybe it's a word that I don't know. And I'm like, how did I know that? I'm just making sure, brother. It was like,
I'm basically conquer.
What? A conquer. A Concord. What is that?
Conquer. Yeah, I kind of did that in college. I kind of did that. I was kind of
okay.
Conqueror. Couple of
okay, I got you.
They know me.
Oh, okay, Mr. HeSaid, I got a question for you. I want you in the chat for a second. Okay, so
hey, look, put the link in the chat if anyone wants to come up.
Oh yeah, I'll put the link in now, and now's the time because, like I said, Wally had to get the go ahead. I mean, it's in. You put it in, guys, right now if you want to come in. Just ask legit questions and be respectful, and I'll check them. And show yourself on camera before I let you one up. Can't have no trolls in here around these. But Mr. HeSaid, so if you could pick 5 martial artists from Marvel, who would you pick? And yes, they can all have their powers. Don't worry.
What's my choices again?
Oh no! I said you can pick 5 martial artists, but martial artists will have powers. So, like, for example, you can pick Iron Fist, or Daredevil, or
okay.
What's his name?
5 martial artists.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as they're martial artists. So yeah, I would definitely go with Daredevil, Iron Fist.
Yeah, Iron Fist. He's the best one. Like number 2. He's like number 2 behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me Shang-Chi too. He's
number
take
1.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't
So,
overlook him.
you got like the best ones right now because you said Iron Fist, then he said Shang-Chi, and then he said Daredevil. Daredevil was one of the best ones. He got some
Yeah,
stupid comic
absolutely.
book feats with that radar.
Indeed. Those fighting styles is just amazing, man.
Yeah.
I gotta pick two more. I might have to think on those. Let me think on those. You can go, Wally. What you got?
Shoot.
My martial arts from Marvel.
I know definitely I'm putting Shang-Chi up there at number one.
Got you.
Iron Fist at number two.
Good man. Iron Fist. I love the Iron Fist love right now. I love it. The books. He's a beast in the books. God damn.
Steve.
All right. You got three more.
This is where I have to be very mindful of how. I mean, we're choosing combat skill sets and everything else. I think I can choose Daredevil. I mean, not. Well, yeah, I can definitely choose Daredevil, but I'm not. I was thinking about him. Deadpool. I'll choose him for 3, even though he wouldn't be there exactly. But for right now, I choose him for 3.
That's fine.
Man. This is because like there's so much here that I have to remember a lot of them. That's what's tough.
Didn't Wolverine fight somebody that was nice when he did that joint? When he went over to where did he go? Did he go to Japan?
I know you're talking about
Japan, yeah, but
and yeah, he's the Silver Samurai.
Yeah, he basically faced a guy that was a samurai with the
Yo, he was nice.
Yeah. In the books, yeah, Silver Samurai and things like that. Like that's one of them. The problem with him is that he doesn't use any of them. He just uses his claws. So it just hacks and slash. He doesn't do any type of martial art at all.
Absolutely.
I look at games.
What about you, man? What do you think, Jay?
Hand-to-hand combat with the claws, but you don't ever do that in the damn movies. Just hack and slash. That's all it is.
What's your
Because the thing is, he doesn't really need it because he can just come in here and slash somebody. That's why that's just a means of attacking. But people still put him on there, but like I can't, bro. Like I need to see something else because Captain America's beating his ass hand to hand. I'm like, stop. You've lived longer than that, so don't give me that. That's what's trash to me. I'm like, really? You've been in more wars. He's only been in one. And
okay. Here's another one. For my 4, Cyclops.
Cyclops? That's an interesting take. Yes, yeah.
Cyclops actually had judo skill sets.
Okay.
And something else.
Yo, man, Daredevil stole that nigga. I'm being funny. But yeah.
Who else? You know what? Okay, look.
Right,
I'm going to throw it in there even though I was about to trade it in. Okay, so the next one was going to be my main man, Nightcrawler. He actually has some fighting skill sets too. He actually has some martial skill sets too. You don't really see it too much in the actual cartoon shows, but he does got some martial art skills. He can actually dip some dipping.
Teleportations were gonna help. I think that's why.
I'll throw in one more. I'll throw just one more.
Who's Nightcrawler's parents, man? Who's Nightcrawler?
So yeah, Nightcrawler's parents. You definitely know it's Mystique for the mother. But I'm alluding to the other guy that you know the X-Men movie, the
Azazel?
The red guy, the red dude. You know that one?
Father.
Yeah, I believe he's the father. Because they literally look alike and have the same freaking powers.
The only difference is his teleportation is fire. His teleportation is fire. Yeah. And the Nightcrawler is like smoke. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do look alike.
Mm-hmm. But other than this, if I had to throw in just one more for notable cause, Psylocke.
That's fair. She is.
Yeah, that is fair.
That one I can accept. I think I can accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. HeSaid, you got 3. Do you got 2 more?
I'm still thinking about it. Let's go with.
Right,
can I pick Black Widow?
Yeah.
I pick Black Widow.
Bro.
Yeah. You know, she's nobody, but I take her.
She's good. She's good.
No, she's good. She's good with them grapplers. She ain't called Black Widow for nothing.
She's good. I'm not touching that. She's good. She's good.
Oh yeah, I tried to
would have said like fucking like canary or some shit. That's weird.
Hey, look, she may not have power, but them grappling skills, boy.
All right.
Hey, she good.
I got a question for you guys. I'm a little older than you guys. I'm almost 50 years old. So I was watching in my
Wait,
day.
you almost 50, bro? You don't look a day over 40.
Yeah, I'm almost 50, man. So
Well, that's
when
the
I was
definition
you
that black
guys'
don't crack.
age, I was watching like Street Fighter, the movie, Tekken. Is that considered anime or no?
Yes.
It's considered gaming stuff, but Street Fighter does have animated movies, so technically by that definition, yes.
Well, I like to say this. I believe that it truly is anime because I say this. I don't think so. The gaming genre of you're muted out. So what you said?
For me?
No, yeah, because when you were saying something, I didn't hear you. So, what you said again?
No. I said technically it is anime because because it's just in gamerverse like
It was more popular for
the whole series thing on the fucking movie. So yes, anime.
Yeah.
You're right.
And plus, when you really think about it, they didn't really divulge it into cartoon like the other animes because really, it was like you can just put in a movie and voila, it tells you mostly the whole story.
Now, Street Fighter and Tekken seem like they're getting to the point now. Like these games now, the one especially with Tekken because Street Fighter is out. I'm gonna download that soon. It looks like they've made the characters like grow up in age. Like Chun-Li might be actually officially be 30 years old. Freaking Ryu looks like they're like masters now in the game. They look like masters. How they look like Ryu has the whole beard. Look, he actually mastered the fucking system. You know how to now. Like I'm a master now, a grandmaster. That's what he looks like right now. And I'm like, I like that they're aging him up because it's like they're trying to bring in new room for like apprentices and other characters, but they want to let you know these characters have progressed. Characters have progressed like their early 20s to their 30s or mid 30s. It's like they got older, but they got stronger and like mastered their shit now. Like Chun-Li looks like a fucking master. She's like backhanding. She's like Chinese kimpoing this little girl. Like I'm like, yo, Chun-Li got way better. I'm like, yo, she's okay. And it's just like to me that's showing the progression of times because we've never seen them actually get older because they stay the same age and shit like that. But this game it was like, yes, they're growing up. Like time has moved forward. Like Sakurai might actually be the next successor to fucking Sasori no Hado if Ryo trains her and shit like that. Because remember, she wants to be trained by him, and she's the only one he would probably ever train in it. And then after that, he might just go on and open his own dojo, like to carry on his Master Goken's last wish. Just like open up a dojo and then carry on teach his teachings, like how he taught me and Kent. Like that. That's more of Ryu's character. That's like a progression, because he's wanted to fight strong people and just get good fights at the time. So yeah. So that's why I say I see it as like that's like anime progressing the characters instead of having to stay in the same spot. Tekken, let me get a Tekken real quick. That is a fucking 8-game fucking series to freaking end a family bloodline, a family feud, a generational family feud from Heihachi's grandfather Jinpachi to him to his son, and then now to fucking I said Heihachi, then Kazuya Jin. And like I said, this last one is going to be another father versus son, ending the devil gene.
It's always.
Well, no, it hasn't always been that, but it's just.
I mean, no, I know, but I'm saying,
they're actually putting it into the line. Is what I'm saying, into the line.
Of course, because they're not welcome another demon in it.
Say what?
They're not willing to welcome another demon in it.
Yeah, no, not them. Jin is not the son of the father of his father he's fighting right now. Basically, the father right now. He's saying, I won't procreate with anybody. I'm not letting. Yeah. No, we should not exist in this freaking plane of existence. But that's all from their grandmother's. Well, from his grandmother's blood, aka Kazuya's mother. Like that all came from her. It never came from their grandfather. He just had like anger and shit and different. That's what made him different over Heihachi and shit like that. I mean, honestly, the best lesson I can learn, I can tell y'all from Tekken is listen. Don't ever listen. I don't give a fuck what type of man you are. Do not throw your fucking son. First of all, don't take out your son's mom, and two, don't chug the brother off a cliff. If he survives, he's going to X you out of this world. I can't say kill a lot, but yeah. and I go like when I saw the movie, I'm like, I can see why he has every right to hate this motherfucker. I can understand. I'm like, yo, do what you got to do, because I was on Kazuya, so I was like, kill, X this brother, bro. It's justifiable. And plus, remember in the movie, he was trying to get him to embrace his darkness anyway. He said, if he X me, man, hey man, I did my job. He said, you're the worst kind of father. And I'm like, sweetheart, have you lived with this nigga? Crazy. I like him. He's crazy, bro. This dude caught like in the movie. This dude kind of acts flying right at him. He caught him with his bare teeth. I was like, get out of it. And then like his prime 50 years old, maybe like 60, maybe like 55 or some shit. But yeah, those type of stories they team to land in a continuous route. It depends if they want to end it or not, but I think they're gonna want to continue the second series, but it's not going to have these characters in there after they end it. Because like I said, people, because I remember somebody asking me, yo, Jin doesn't program? Like, no, he's not going to. He doesn't want any more of them. Because technically, if I'm correct, he might follow the path of his actual son. Or Heihachi. Just kill that son. So, no. But yeah, that's a valid question. That's what he said. So for my 5, I'll pick Black Panther, Iron Fist, Captain America. Give me Shang-Chi as 4. Who am I missing out of that list? I'm missing somebody.
Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil. That's the other one. I'll throw Daredevil in there. And the reason why I got Black Panther is because Black Panther literally has a style that you cannot copy. Even Taskmaster can't copy it. He created himself through the herb and shit. Like he created his own fight style.
I forgot about
the shadow. Similar to shadow physics. When he's able to combine technology and sorcery together, similar to Doctor Doom. And it's like when you combine like magic with technology. Yeah, he created that. So,
Angel's chocolate.
Yeah. Hey, Jill.
Hello, Jill.
What's good?
Oh, and Jill, I got to IG you later on. If we do an interview tomorrow, it'll be around 8 the same time as this one, because I have to work tomorrow. Eastern on my part. You just gotta let them know. Yeah, we're still on, definitely. But okay. I got those 5. I was trying to think of somebody else, because I feel like there was somebody else.
I'll throw in another one for you. Gambit.
Is he going to come back in?
Yep.
She's good with a staff.
You know Bojitsu and something else.
Oh, yeah, that's why I said he's good with a staff. But yeah, that's cool. Right. Yo, you know what's so funny? Right. Captain America freaking beat Gambit because he actually tried to combust his whole suit and he survived the explosion. Literally, he wasn't even dead. He was like, "That's the best you could do, Gambit." Literally.
Yeah. But look, I ain't gonna hold up the stream. Look, I ain't gonna hold up the stream. It's been 2 hours. I think we had a good dialogue with Mr. HeSaid. Look, it's been a blast, man. We talked a little bit about yourself, of course. We also talked about life. And, of course, now we converted it all within comics. So, it's been a blast, man. Thank you for coming through and coming by doing this interview with me, rocking out. Give me a little bit of piece of your time every day. So, look, Mr. HeSaid, what you got left to say to the people, man?
Oh, man, this was a pleasure, man. This was, a break from the monotony, which is always needed. I appreciate you guys, for creating this lane and having a conversation, that gears to, some of the things that we like and people might not even understand or accept that we as black men, American black men, that we like comics, that we like reading, that we like stories, that we like exercising our imagination. And comics, anime, cartoons, sci-fi is near and dear to my heart, and I'm unapologetic. I'm proud to say it. And I'll knock your ass out, and I can actually tell you how you can ice your nose and put your arm in a sling and get it better, because that's the type of brothers that we need. We need to have a certain balance. So I love you guys, because you guys exercise that intellect, and you make it unapologetically open for us to come over here and have conversations that's not about men and women and kicking in the dirt. And I appreciate you guys for having that lane open for us and having that opportunity to come over here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm going to be setting up an invitation for you guys as well to come over and chat with me and the missus, so we can learn a little bit about you guys and pick your brain a little bit. So again, just thank y'all for being who y'all are, man. Yes.
I'm glad you're a Magneto fan, by the way, because he's my favorite. One of my favorite. So, real quick question before you did, just real question, like 50 seconds and like below. Did you like Michael Fassbender's young Magneto portrayal? Because I think it was fire.
I did.
Since you're a fan
Absolutely.
of it.
Absolutely, just the passion and the sincerity, man. Again, just being a man, being willing to stand on an island, even if you have to. Your belief, your stance might not be popular. Everybody might not agree with it, but you willing to stand on your square, and even if that means being on an island by yourself, man, that's what we do as men. And I think Magneto is a personification of that. He might not be right, but he feels the way he feels, and we get in our positions where we feel like that too. So I absolutely admire that portrayal. I admire that actor and all of his contributions that he gives to those films, and just that character in itself, man. It's amazing.
Thank you, brother, and thank you for being on. I'm glad we could provide a space for you to be on, and you have a great night, sir. And not to mention, guys, like I said, I invite everybody here. It's chill. We don't have to talk about the same monotonous shit like you said earlier. That's what exactly this channel is for, bro. I tell people, you want to go do that, go somewhere else, man, because there's other channels for that. And over here, we chill. And thank you so much. Just thank you so much for sharing your experience, brother. I'm about to rewatch this whole stream when I go to work tomorrow, bro, so I can just listen to what what your experience was like. And also, the energy you gave off, brother, was that of an actual man, how a man moves and talks, and not like get flustered and angry and nonsense. You actually conducted yourself very well, brother. I can see that you don't just talk it, you actually show it, which I've always said actually speak louder than words. So it seems like you follow that motif very well. But brother, thank you for being on. You have a great night. And to everybody who tuned in for this interview, be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe to these cats here, to Wally and my man, Mr. HeSaid. Like I said, the link to the channel is gonna be in the description box below. Y'all have a great night, and hey man,
See y'all good
people,
man.
comic books.
All right,
Seriously.
man. Y'all have a great one. See y'all in the comic books, man. Rest in peace, Stan Lee. Thank you, brother.
Yup.
And Lee, brother.